Okay, we should be rolling.
All right, I'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the committee portion of our meeting. First thing on the agenda is to discuss the proposed 2026-2027 board meeting schedule. It's in our packet.
Yeah, so all I did was create an alternate date calendar based on this current school year and cast forward for the 26-27 school year on the second and fourth Wednesdays as outlined. One of the things that we talked about, if it's different, you can see that it's bolded or capitalized, so you can see the different days and the reasons for those dates. But April 14th would then technically be the board reorganization because that individual would have been elected or re-elected, whatever the case may be, on the prior Tuesday. So we would get them sworn in before that April 14th meeting, do the reorg that night, which would keep us on the Wednesday and Wednesday schedule. There are going to be some years, I would guess, based on the calendar, that second April meeting would still work for the board reorg. But it has to be done by the last Tuesday of April, I think, on or before. And so that's why I bumped it to the 14th, and we should have the votes canvassed by then and be able to do it by then. And if not, I guess what we do, if there was some kind of, vote recount or something that extended that time frame, then we would likely have to just schedule a special meeting or do the board reorg on a different evening. So it should work. That's really the only remarkable difference is maintaining the Wednesday in April. Everything else is comparable days. I'd point to Tuesday, December 22nd, if needed, just because it abuts closer to the Christmas holiday. And there was one other thing I was going to point out, I thought.
Same with that November date, that's day before.
Yes, so that we had typically left being the Wednesday, but as like for this year, for example, we didn't have two November meetings. So we're going to do our best to make sure that second meeting isn't necessary. We leave it as a placeholder, however, just in the event that there's something that has to be taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we could, if we didn't need that, if we have enough notice, move it up a day or whatever.
Totally. So we could, frankly, the board can schedule a special meeting anytime they so choose. You don't want to do that with regular frequency for obvious reasons, but you need 24 hours notice to the public. And so as long as we get a posting out, you can meet within 24 hours of that posting. So it's really not super consequential. Like I said, we're going to do our best to try to avoid months where we don't have to double up or where it's optional and keep it optional.
Any other questions or feedback on the calendar, proposed calendar? The Wednesday time 5:15 works still? All right. We shall move on. Let's discuss the open enrollment, which was another document in our packet.
Yep, and for the benefit of Jess and some of our newer board members, I mentioned the board update too. Open enrollment in and out. Really, the board, local school board, doesn't technically have power to selectively or wholeheartedly deny open enrollment in and out applications. What we do have the opportunity to do is set caps on certain programs with respect to regular ed and special ed. In most cases, schools across Wisconsin do not cap their open enrollment in, well, and you can't technically cap out, but do not cap their open enrollment in for regular ed for obvious reasons, because if you allow open enrollment in, you generate dollars on that student coming to your district from a neighboring district or frankly from anywhere in the state, but typically those are geographically, located geographically near to the district because people don't typically open enroll and bring their kid an hour away, but they certainly could. So that's the regular ed. So there's no caps for open enrollment on our regular ed. There are caps for open enrollment in special ed, and that has become the approach across the state as well. And that is to develop through and you'll see this come through in January is when the board typically approves it. The January approval is for a cast forward for the following year. And that is articulated via a matrix or a formula that was developed by the UW Oshkosh back when this began, I'm going to say around 10 years ago, give or take, and is used by districts to calculate a weighting factor of the certain students they serve in special ed programming. So if you have someone with significant special needs, their weighting factor is more than one student. It would be, I don't know, Shelley would have to be here to tell you, but we provide that printout so when January rolls around, we'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But a profoundly disabled student might be a 2.7 or a 1.7 versus a 1.0. And then that total, those cumulative totals are added up, and we try to, we create those caps based on what the recommended caseload are for special ed staff with respect to disability area. Something like speech, you're gonna see that it's basically 1-to-1. So you can have one speech therapist with like 45 students because they're only receiving speech services, they're only being provided speech services. And so those caps are set because you don't want to intentionally or unintentionally have students open enrolling with special needs who exacerbate a funding circumstance or create a scenario in which we don't have the proper staffing. So you're not going to allow open enrollment in for special education kids because by doing that, and that's why the caps are calculated, you may or likely will have to increase staffing or provide additional services that you may not offer.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
This is different. Open enrollment in and out is completely different than if you're a district resident. If you're a district resident, you come in regardless of what our caps are. We have to educate you, and that is regardless of the type of disability you have, even if you do. So, two different things. I give you that whole long diatribe because ultimately under state statute, open enrollment in and out is allowed. So if the board just said, well, we're not going to approve open enrollment out applications, only open enrollment in, you don't really have that authority. However, the statute wasn't modified to indicate that the board did not need to take action. So the board still has to take action on open enrollment in and open enrollment out applications. Lastly, I'll just point out that the district in the past has engaged in a practice where siblings are provided preference with respect to open enrollment. So if you have a student that's been open enrolled, for example, and they're in 3rd grade and there's another one coming into 4K, then we typically guarantee that open enrollment slot for that student coming in. This is not a problem for us in St. Croix Falls because we, of course, have lower numbers than we have had in recent years, as a lot of school districts do. That might be something that would have to change if you're, well, Hudson back in the old days, they're closing schools now because they're losing kids, just like a lot of other school districts. But they would say, look, we're not accepting any open enrollment because of space limitations. So I don't see us getting into that area where we have to say we're just completely not allowing open enrollment, you know, in. But you still can't deny an out application. Does that make sense? So parents have the opportunity to send their child to wherever they would like in the state, as long as they can get them there in terms of open enrollment. So that's a long-winded diatribe to say we do approve the open enrollment in and out applications, but we technically don't have control over those anyway.
When parents do apply for open enrollment, does that ask why? I'm just curious why, you know, like what makes them, if they're coming from wherever, pick St. Croix Falls.
Yeah, so if you open enroll, there's also an extended open enroll period that's in the state that's outside this, what's considered the standard open enrollment window. If you file the paperwork in the state of Wisconsin during the standard window, you can open enroll to, apply to up to 3 school districts. Okay, so if St. Croix Falls is my resident district and my kids are attending here and I'm like, I think I want to try a different school for whatever reason, you can apply to up to 3 districts. So maybe you do one for Grantsburg, Unity, and Osceola, okay? And what ends up happening is that you don't really have to do anything more as a parent for the regular application period. So you don't have, there's no rationale typically provided, right? And no one asks, like, hey, why are you coming here or why are you leaving here? And then what happens is once the start of school comes around, then whatever school district or school that kid is attending and gets counted on the 3rd Friday, that's the school they're now attending. So that would give them the opportunity to basically choose by September 1st or the start of the school year, whether I want to attend one of 4 districts. So that's statutorily how that works. There's an open enrollment, extended open enrollment period that folks can apply for, and then the state does request specifics around why they are looking to open enroll out of their resident district. But when you apply for in, you don't have to say like, well, I want to come there because you're a better school, or I want to come there. You're saying, I want to leave here because, and in many cases, what you see is things like bullying or, we don't appreciate the academic environment, that sort of thing, for an open enrollment out. But that stuff, you only really know if you do outreach to open enroll families, which we have some intentions of doing in the near future here, just to gather some feedback, like to survey anybody that's willing and open enrolled out family to say, hey, why did you choose to open enroll out? Was it based on geographics? Was it based on where you work? Was it based on bullying, or whatever? And gather that data so we know. But generally, unless you ask, there really isn't a direct way to know for every student why they're choosing to open enroll in or out. That's making sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
And these are the new applications.
That's correct. Yeah, and you only have to apply technically at the beginning of each building grade level. And frankly, you can apply as a first grader or as a kindergartner and never apply again. So it depends. Some school districts, you reach out and request, so you can apply. You can also apply annually, but we only bring the new applications in and out forward, correct?
Because what we see for, like, ours is like almost an even out in, like, kind of wash. Is that normal?
It depends. And so when we look at our total numbers, and when we get in the third Friday count, you'll see open enrollment in and out numbers during that time too, via an update. We are more positive in open enrollment in than we are out. But I mean, you see anything, it's all over the board. It depends on the district, and it depends on a lot of the time the size of the district. If you, I think Barron's a great example. It's very long. From the city of Barron all the way over to Elmina and then all the way down to Ridgeland. And you had kids in Ridgeland, Prairie Farm is much closer than Barron Middle School and High School. And I cite that only because I was there, and I know it's a very long district, so you can be from Ridgeland to Prairie Farm in like 5 minutes, but it's going to take you 15 or 18 minutes to get from Ridgeland to the city of Barron, to one of the schools in Barron. So that could be one of the reasons that somebody's like, well, I'm going to open enroll to Prairie Farm. And depending upon whether you're positive or negative, I do think, for example, one of the reasons that St. Croix Falls has seen a change, because there was times where we were equal or more out than in during the history of the organization, is because of what we do for kids and how things have changed, particularly at the elementary level, but as an organization too. There are implications with athletics and programming and so forth and so on. I mean, it's the full package. So if you were talking to folks while you open enrolling in, you might hear something as simple as, well, I work in St. Clair Falls, or I work right across the river, so I drive through town. It makes more sense for me to bring my kid there rather than go away from my job, which is where my resident district school would be, then back to the job. Simple as that. Or I want my kids to attend St. Croix Falls Elementary or St. Croix Falls Middle, or you know what I'm saying?
Are we able to survey those coming in? Just because if outreach is an initiative, it might be helpful to know the larger pool of why people are choosing St. Croix Falls.
Yeah. I mean, we know who open enrolls in and out.
Yeah.
We might be limited, if they open enroll in, we're not limited for their contact information. We may be limited for some open enrollment out contact information, but you can do your best to get some outreach. And frankly, anytime you do a survey, what you're looking for is, a reasonable response rate that'll give you kind of a smattering of what the general ideas are. But yeah, there's nothing that would preclude us from reaching out and saying, hey, we recognize open enrollment in, and telling us why. And that might be a decent day to have, but I think I could probably tell you, as most school districts could, the reason why, for most people.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something that you'd have or ask Kurt to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not overly complicated. I did talk to the board, it was before the election, but we did talk about doing some outreach to homeschool families and some outreach to open enroll out, just to get some ideas about, because if it is things that are within our control, then it makes some sense to pay attention to that, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons too why you don't necessarily, there's nothing wrong with focusing on open enrollment in, but I think the fact that you're enrolling in The reason behind that are typically positive reasons, and the open enrollment out, I'm not saying they're typically negative, but you're not gonna hear positive reasons for open enrollment out. You know, you're gonna hear, the geography is probably the best one you wanna hear, and then you're gonna hear things like, well, it wasn't a good fit for my kid, or I had problems at the, you know, with this teacher, or with this principal, or whatever the case may be. So, yeah.
Anything else? All right, thank you. We'll move on to discuss the elementary school parking lot. The proposal is in our packets.
Yeah, so as I also mentioned in the board update, Brian Warner, well, I guess I'll start with saying that you probably realize that there's multiple areas on our campuses that asphalt updates are needed. Another couple of areas are this bus drop-off area, the middle school and the middle school turnaround and that kind of thing. And Brian's evaluating that currently with respect to whether or not we can slip something into this year's budget still based on what his numbers are coming up as. But we do know the primary spot that needs to be addressed would be what we're bringing forward here with the, I think it's the west elementary parking lot and a little bit of the drive, to have that redone. And the cost of that is $67,200. The recommendation is that we go with Monarch paving. So this is within Brian Warner's facilities budget from this year. We did receive another bid from a local company, but that bid was $10,000 higher, which is why we would advocate to go with the Monarch bid.
Can you explain like where, like you say west? I'm more of a building kind of gal, so can you explain like where at the elementary school is this?
There's a map on page 9. I don't do
It's basically where you drive in to the elementary school parking lot.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Where the teachers park up by the edge.
Yeah,
We
so
call the
it's-
front.
Yeah, call it the front parking lot. Yeah, and then the drive.
This park, I understand that knowledge, thank you.
Yeah. There you go.
So does this mean, so like for this year, are we kind of working from like right to left? So like on the map, we'll do this year, and then the remainder, is that kind of slated for the next year, or?
Not necessarily. We'd probably jump over to the middle school and hit that first, and then potentially go back to the
Oh, okay.
elementary. Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if like when you pick apart like you know, just focus on the elementary school, if we're moving, like we'll do this part this year and then the other half next year.
No, it's more based on what needs it the most.
Okay.
And frankly, if you're mobilizing equipment and have them come pave, you're not gonna do a small spot, but you could just say, we're gonna do, you know, whatever, 100 square feet every year for the next decade, you know what I'm saying? And then they can piece it together, because as they pave, they'll smooth it out, and asphalt's pretty forgiving in that regard. But no, so it is about what's needed the most, and I know that we could make a solid argument that the whole darn thing needs to be done. And it's true at the middle school, and it's true at portions of the high school here too. I mean, the drive was redone relatively recently, but we have a lot of paving issues that we need to rectify. So I'm guessing you're gonna see multiple projects over multiple years come forward, yes.
And you said Brian was looking to see if we could potentially get more. Is there a big savings if you can try to put things together or not?
It depends.
No.
It depends, because of course, part of what you're paying for is the mobilization to get them here. But there is a kind of, I mean, I think if you could do it all at once, you're technically gonna always save money, because you don't have to have them come twice. But on the same hand, when you total it all up, it's not as though springing for $1.5 million is gonna be the route to go when we're only gonna spend 70. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna see wild savings like, oh my gosh, if we would have done this all at once instead of 1.5, it would have been 1. No, not that. I mean, it'd be several $1,000s, but we need to have the money and make sure that we're doing it correctly. So, yeah, piecing it together with these projects that are around 50 to 100,000, you know, maybe something a little wonkier if we need to, but.
When would they be able to do that?
Boy, he did say, I'm not certain, because he was gonna reach out to them knowing that it was coming to the board for approval tonight. I would guess they're gonna get it hammered out this summer. I'm not sure when though, how quick they'll jump on it. Maybe post-summer school, I'm not sure. I don't know when we'll be on their schedule.
That's what I was wondering about the summer school fees.
Yeah.
When they're doing this, do we anticipate, or are there some areas that could be, like, impacted by the work? Like it says in here, some exclusions, like if there's any damage to like concrete or like to the other parking lots to like further damage them to make them be like more of a priority while they're doing the resurfacing?
I'm not sure what you're saying, I'm sorry.
Like, so they have in here like exclusions, like they don't cover like the landscaping if anything's damaged, any concrete if anything's damaged while they're doing it, but because it's only like that one parking lot, they're not doing it as a whole, could it cause any damage to like that drive? Or like the grass area that's there that we have like extra expenses, so we have to fix something
No.
else before supposed to?
No, that's pretty standard. Anytime they're gonna come in, any company's gonna come in and do anything, there's gonna be exclusions with respect, especially with paving and so forth. I haven't had, I don't even know how many paving projects during my time. It's very rare with asphalt, no, watch something will happen. But it's very rare that there's an issue with respect to.
You said.
Yeah, I know. It's like, so what they're talking about is like, oh, well, we had a equipment issue and it dumped some tar on this patch of grass and it's dead. Well, that's gonna be our problem, They're not going to do things that are incredibly disruptive. So I have little concern. They're not, like the demo, there's not really significant demolition or anything like that.
And I'm sure if they wanted to work for us again,
Yeah.
they would, if they did something egregious,
Yes.
you'd be like, hey, come on, and then they would, of course.
And I would also, to add to that, I would also
Why
say,
is it in there?
in my experience, most companies make it right,
Yeah.
do their best to make it right.
Well, I was mainly worried about like where you come in, because like if that's not being fixed, like, and if it's gonna, does it make sense if that has to be done in like a year, that you just do it all at once? Cause then you don't have to fix it to wait another year to redo it,
You talking about the,
Like where you drive in, like, cause that's the parking lot up on the top,
Yeah.
and if they,
I don't think that that's consequential.
okay.
anything else? All right, hearing nothing, we will move on to the board meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Matt Bryce.
Here,
Tashina Rager. Here. Don Milkey.
Here.
Jessica Milkey. Here. Brent McCurdy.
Here. All right, Matt, will you mind reading the mission statement and the rules?
yeah. Mission statement. The mission of the School District of St. Croix Falls is to provide a supportive, student-centered learning environment that cultivates character, fosters academic excellence, and embraces diversity. The board meeting rules. Focus on the mission, vision statements of the district. Come prepared, be respectful of others, and open, accepting of ideas. Actively participate, avoid side conversations. Remember, board meetings are open forum.
Thank you, Matt. We'll move on to principal's comments. We'll start with Mr. Wilson.
Back to reality in the high school world. The race is slowing down finally. Obviously graduation on Friday. Had a lot of compliments. Graduation went very well. Very, very pleased with how things went. Kids were awesome. Our practice paid off. They were smooth, well-oiled machines, so that went well. And obviously the prior weeks with scholarship night and baccalaureate and all that good stuff, we're finally seeing some sanity in our end of the building. So that's good. Let's see what else we got cooking here. We'll call it the tiny home, the shed that's out back of the school. So in December, when you're done tonight, take a spin out that way. When you leave, just take a peek. But December of '23, our tech ed department bought one of those. It's a 12 by 24 shed, steel roof, the whole deal. And our tech ed classes have worked throughout the last year and a half, 2 years now. Insulating, electrical service, mini split heat and AC unit put into it, kitchen cabinets on the one end, flooring. They've made it kind of a tiny home. The only thing that isn't done is the interior walls are not done. The shed needs to be moved, and for fear of, if we sheet rock it, as soon as they pick it and put it up on a trailer, it'll flex a little bit and kind of wreck itself. So everything's done other than that. So I'm finalizing what we've got into it, and I'll be working with Mr. Brower and Kirk to create a little online auction, if you will. The goal when that originated was to hopefully make a couple $1,000 for a tech ed department. But that is in its final stages now. We'll be pushing that out here early summer and get things going. So happy to see that coming to completion. Let's see what else. Sports updates. We had one golfer make it through to sectionals today. So Peyton Nichols made it through to sectionals in the playoffs, so good for him. Track team, you want me to read off the list? I did find it. I will. I will, why not? Let's see, girls 4x800 relay, 100 meter dash, 1, 2, 3 girls, 4x200 meter relay girls, 4x200 meter relay boys, 4x100 meter relay girls, 4x100 meter relay boys, 4x400 meter relay girls. Long jump, Sophie Halla, new school record. So got a lot of kids. And obviously those relays are at a minimum of 4, but they usually have an alternate or 2 as well. So a lot of athletes still competing in track. Softball girls play Cameron tomorrow in a regional final or semifinal. And boys baseball finished the regular season last night, 23-1 record with an 18. Yeah, and I have to believe that's probably the best regular season record ever in the history of our baseball program, and that's including the state champs in 23 were 28-3 overall. So phenomenal regular season, going into playoffs as the #1 seed. They'll bye tomorrow, and then they'll start next week. So baseball team has got some high expectations as well. Capping that off, it's a kind of a neat situation. Obviously, there are more than just seniors on the team, but our winter sports, wrestling, hockey, and basketball were all conference champs at the same time, and that's not easy to do. And now our baseball boys are conference champs too, so a lot of success on the boys' side, which is pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Mr. Wallace.
All right. Okay, what's wrong tab? So our middle school year is ramping up in the energy as the high school's ramping down. So lots of activity over the last couple of weeks here, and this week culminating with lots of energy and activity. We had our 8th grade recognition ceremony today. Thanks for Matt and Mr. Wilson for helping hand out the certificates to our 8th graders. We have community service with our whole building tomorrow morning. We'll be doing some work in the school, outside the school, and then with the bus garage a little bit, and then some gratitude stations with some fun activities in the afternoon scheduled. And then our last day of school, 250 of our middle schoolers are attending a Wild Mountain field trip. So we got a pile of kids at Wild Mountain on. And again, it's supposed to be gorgeous. It's supposed to be a perfect day for water park. There's gonna be a lot of sunburned kids on Friday. Our middle school track team sent 6 individual athletes down to the unofficial middle school state track meet. Apparently this is a meet that Waupun's been hosting for the last 7 or so years, and a lot of really great athletes from that southwest corner of the state, or southeast corner of the state. We had, in order to qualify it, athletes had to post a time that was in the top 10 or 20 performances in the state for those who registered, and so we had 6 athletes go down there, and they represented us well. And Kirk posted for us on the Facebook page some of our performances, and a lot of great times and some school records set on that day as well. So it was a whole lot of fun, and I think they're looking forward to doing that again next year with the track team. So Adele Rimmeride was selected to participate in the state middle school honors choir. She was selected as one of 35 participants and over 600 applicants. So, it's a pretty awesome honor for her. Hannah Wander is identified as an alternate, so if one of the students backs out, Hannah Wander would also be one who would be heading on down there. So lots of fun stuff at the end of the school year here, and lots of good success with our middle schoolers. So.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Blatt.
Thank you. We are also, oh, I'm so sorry,
I
Chris,
totally
take
forgot.
it. Yeah.
One other thing too that wasn't in the board minutes here, that's why I forgot. We are looking at next year with middle school, and meeting with my staff here at the last day of in-service here to kind of button up things, but we'll be kind of tightening down our cell phone policy a little bit more, so looking to go bell to bell in the middle school, off and away during the school day, so passing time, lunchtime included, so. I've been in districts before where we've done that, and it's worked well in the middle school. Typically tamps down on opportunities for poor choices during the school day. And families can still communicate with students throughout the course of the day. It just streamlines things through the office, especially if kid's not feeling well, text mom, and then all of a sudden mom shows up to pick them up and we don't know about it. So this just kind of helps to centralize that communication. So.
Very good, thank you. All right.
Oh, no, not at all. That carries right over from the elementary school where we're bell to bell too. And believe it or not, we have to be, because even in first grade, kids have smartphones. But not at school, they don't. So we hosted the annual third grade writers symposium or writers conference. It's an all-day event where we have real authors, including me, come to the school and lead workshops for kids, and we have a keynote by a famous author. What I really want to highlight, this is like the 25th year we've done it in a row. Barb Trombley, if you remember Barb, she started it. She has come back to every single one to act as a session leader, and it's just absolutely incredible. These retired teachers who keep coming back to give and give and give to the kids. So I just want to shout out to Barb and to all the authors who came and worked with the third graders. It was marvelous. We held a 4K roundup for parents, and that is new this year. In years past, we just said register for 4K and drop them off, and that's all you get. This year, because we're at Dresser, and of course to us it's no big deal because we do it every year, but to first-time 4K parents, it's really scary. So this year, now that we're at Dresser, we've decided to redo everything, and we had parents come. It was so fun. I almost said marvelous again. That's my word today, sorry. So fun, and we told parents this year, usually the way we choose class lists for 4K is boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. It's not very scientific. So this year we decided we're not going to put any kids in classes till after Jumpstart so that we get to know them and we can set classes up so they're more balanced and driven by student needs. And the parents were very happy about that. Let's see, the 4K concert was amazing. You guys, Jody Egan, that girl, she can teach anybody to sing. I mean, she hasn't tried me, but she can teach the 4Kers. If you could have been there to hear them sing Country Roads Take Me Home.
Teary-eyed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, they don't even yell sing. Well, a couple of them do. It was packed and it was fun. The kids spent all day at the big school getting to know it and meeting their kindergarten teachers, and that was also really fun. The drivers had a cookout to celebrate another successful year together. They are all coming back with the exception of Wally, who is semi-retiring, but he promised he'll still be our trainer and a sub. So that's a good sign. Yearly evaluations have been completed for all drivers, paras, and teachers. Sports day is tomorrow. Let the chaos begin. And also the sunburns. We're going to do what we can. Then I just want to take a minute to gush a little bit and say thank you. At the end of the last school board meeting when school is in session, to my amazing staff, the teachers and the paraprofessionals are bar none the best in the business. Kids Care, run by Jesse and all of the teachers there, phenomenal. The bus garage, I have no words to describe how professional and hardworking they all are. Of course, my teachers. And also I want to say thank you to my colleagues, because this has been my favorite year as administrator in this district. And that is because of the team that we have. And there, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
But did you guys notice they didn't thank their colleagues? It was kind of weird. I was expecting it. It was a little weird, but I did it. I brought it for you guys. It was weird. Yeah, weird.
You sent out that email to get people on the bus for the Wanigan days.
Oh, yeah.
Is that to recruit drivers or just to promote the school?
Just to promote both. Sorry, both. Yeah, both. I'm gonna make a big banner now that you said that. It says we are hiring. I didn't even think of it, both. Just for fun. We thought it'd be fun to have that.
The only people that'll get candy are prospective drivers.
That's right. Mhm. Resume for candy. You hand me your resume, I hand you a piece of candy.
Yeah.
Rita, can I ask about the roundup, since you said it was the first time you all tried it? Can
Well,
you
we
tell me
did-
more about like the activity, like what happens?
We did lane ones in the past,
Oh,
so I'm not
okay,
gonna say
okay.
we've never done it before. They were super late.
Okay.
This year, what we did, we used to just put people in a room and just talk to them.
Okay, that's. mostly what
Okay,
I was wondering, what
so
the
no,
activities were.
this year we had everyone come, and so I emailed all the parents who had already registered, and then I sent it out in different avenues to get people who just were interested in the program. We started with a hot dog dinner, and everyone just kind of hung out together, and the tables were covered with paper so kids could color. Then as parents came in, we gave each a different color sheet of paper. There's a red room, a blue room, and a green room. They went to one of those where the teachers had prepared an informational slideshow, question and answer, and there were games and toys set out for kids. Then we all went out to the playground to play. Any adult who was there, we had the teachers there, I was there, both secretaries were there. Monica was there, a bunch of different people. We had clipboards so that we could notice things and make notes and say, hey, did you notice we might want to talk about this one? Or so that's what we did, and it was really fun. The kids all got to wear crowns with their names on it.
Oh, so cute. Thank you,
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, we really liked it. We decided we're gonna do it every year.
All right, very good. Mr. Brower, can you top those?
Well, no, but I'd like to open by thanking my colleagues.
It's too late to open with
Oh,
that.
God, I was waiting for that. I knew, if you hadn't said anything, I intended to.
Oh, did you really?
For sure.
That's a lie.
Because no, not about thanking colleagues. You're misreading me. About the fact that I was going to call out Wilson and Wallace for not recognizing their colleagues. I had full intentions of doing that.
Yeah, on their evaluations, maybe.
Yes. But in all seriousness, we do have a fantastic group, and I'll echo the fact district-wide with respect to staff. This has been an absolutely outstanding year. It's just, this is an incredible place to work. As the board knows and the admin team knows, I was on vacation for a brief period of time as we tried to slip in with 3 college kids before they start their jobs and they're done with school. It's not an advantageous time for a school superintendent to be gone, but whatever. I, honest to God, looked forward to coming back. I could not wait to come back on Friday after 3 hours of sleep. And then having graduation that night. Graduation was fantastic. 8th grade recognition was fantastic. There's things, I mean, it's such a fun place to be. Primarily for the kids, the adults are okay too. Yeah, so I'll say that, that's nothing new. But also, probably the biggest news that was a disappointment is that, not to take it a completely negative tone, but it's very relevant, our state legislature couldn't come up with and finalize a deal with respect to the surplus. And so here we sit again, even though there was bipartisan agreement, I still don't have clarity on what, dismantled it and why it wasn't pushed across the finish line. There's a litany of groups that have reached out to legislators indicating, like, what's the deal? And I'm not at this time aware of any specific reason behind that. Clearly politics, but aside from that, I don't have anything specific. Had that been passed, we would have gotten an additional $80,495 in the 25-26 school year this year, and next year an estimated $217,809. So now that's not some sufficient, that's some certain. So depending upon how claims would come in throughout the state, those numbers would change. But very clearly, 50+ thousand in this year, and likely 180, 175 to 200,000 in next year would be significant budget impact for St. Croix Falls. And so it's kind of disappointing to see that that's where we are. What ends up happening now, if nothing happens through June with respect to the 25-26 budget, is anybody's guess, because we're done June 30th with this fiscal year, and then we are moved forward into the next fiscal year. So I wonder, depending upon how quickly they take action, if there's any impact this year or not, and then what the impact would be to next year. So that's unfortunate and disappointing, but that's kind of where we're at. So that's all I have.
I know I called you when you were on your bus ride come home.
Yep.
Did you have a chance to look at that superintendent evaluation?
Yes, we have an email, Ray had sent it to me today, because the board did have access to that number, to the superintendent evaluation tool as a result of the search service that you purchased through 2027. So I hadn't had a chance yet this afternoon to look at it, but what I'm gonna do is pull that information and send it to all of you. It seems as simple as going to the proper site, logging in with your WASB credentials, and then you can begin to kind of review what that looks like. And then arguably, you know, Brett, being you leading the process, I would say if there's, you know, you need additional training or have questions, we can hook you up with a WASB rep or whatever to go through what needs to be done. I have not personally looked at it in any great detail, so I really can't comment on what it looks like yet. So.
I think they went through quite a bit of changes, because we looked at it a year or two ago. But when I was at the convention here, they made it sound like they made significant changes to it for this year. So make it a lot easier, flow better, I think. So instead of focusing on the old one, I'd like to just spend the time looking at that one.
For sure.
So,
I'll get it to you probably tomorrow. Yeah, probably tomorrow.
Okay. Then we'll get going on Craig's year-end evaluation too. So, with that, did anybody attend any trainings or anything?
Can I ask a question from the superintendent? Do we have any update on the facility study, or has that started?
Yeah, that's in process. I have no new details currently.
Nothing?
Nope.
Thank you.
I do know that there's more and more wrestling parents that are reaching out with concerns around space, which is not shocking to me, but it also makes me lament. I wish they would have watched a few board meetings where I was losing my mind about that. It is what it is.
Any other questions? All right. Do we have any presentations or public comments? So we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve it.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Matt,
Second.
second by Jessica. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will move down to personnel and discuss, vote on the resignation of Corey Schmidt, high school special education, alternative education teacher, which we talked about last time.
Yeah, I don't know, Mike, if you want to say a few words. I know Corey's been an asset to St. Croix Falls. We wish him the best. He's embarking on an administrative adventure, so he'll be a fresh special education director in a district in our area. And we certainly hope that at some point in the future, if the cards are played right, he chooses to come back and work with us here in St. Croix Falls, because he's a great guy. And does an excellent job, works well with kids and staff, and so we're sorry to see him go, but we're happy for the fact that he's on to the next chapter in his administrative career. And after a year, I will call and chuckle at him and say, "This isn't what you thought it was, is it?" He's gonna say, "Nope." Anything else, Mike?
No, you've said it all. He's done a great job with, in the special ed department and then the alternative school too. It takes a unique human to work in both of those areas. And he's done a great job in both, so wish him the best.
Very good, thank you. But now we have to approve his resignation.
Correct.
We need a motion.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to approve the resignation of Corey Schmidt, high school special education / alternative education teacher.
All right, we have a motion by Tashina,
I'll second.
second by Dawn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next, we'll move on to hiring a candidate for the high school special education and alternative education teacher.
Yeah, and Mike, do you want to make some comments about what the approach would be and who we're offering?
Yeah, right on. So essentially the timeline's been a little bit unique because of the end of the year and board approvals and those type of things. But when we were, Mr. Wallace and I actually kind of worked together with the middle school position, knowing that this could have been on the horizon, had a hint that it was on its way. So we, when we were doing some hiring in the middle school, we had our eyes open as well for this high school position. And we will be looking to hire Jesse Rose for this position. And he did interview for the middle school, and we had some conversations afterward and inquired about interest in this position if it became available. And he's got some experience in the alternative ed area, and he's an absolute great fit for exactly what we're looking for.
Very good. I guess I'll take a motion to approve the hiring of
Jesse Rose.
Jesse Rose.
I will throw out too that we did, albeit brief, but we did an all-call for staff who want any interest in that position, because of course we would defer to internal candidates if necessary, and then hire for a different position that was vacated and we didn't have any interest.
All right, so I'll take a motion to approve the hiring of Jesse Rose.
I will make the motion to approve the hiring of candidate Jesse Rose for the high school special education / alternative education teacher.
Okay, we have a motion by Jessica,
Second.
second by Tashina. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next, we will vote on the hiring of a candidate for the head girls basketball coach.
Yeah, and I'll toss it over to Mike. He was involved in the interview process as well.
Right on. So we had girls basketball coach, varsity girls basketball coach. We had 3 people apply for that position. 3 candidates that all have pretty extensive coaching and or playing experience. And the top candidate from our application process is Katie Teets. So looking to move that forward and approve Katie as our new head basketball coach.
Katie was the assistant, right?
Correct, right on. Yep, and since Katie's, she's been here a couple of years now, and she's coaching year-round. She's involved and will continue to be and wants to be involved in multiple coaching aspects.
All right, any questions? All right, I'll take a motion to hire Katie Teets for the head girls basketball coach.
I'll make a motion to hire Katie Teets as the head girls basketball coach.
Motion by Don,
I'll second.
second by Matt. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We'll move on to financial and vote on the increase for the 2026-2027 food service meal prices. We did get some additional information from our last meeting in the update that you sent out.
With respect to all the card items.
Yeah. So if there's no other questions, I'll take a motion to approve those prices.
I will make a motion to approve the increase for the 2026-2027 food service meal prices.
All right, we have a motion by Jessica,
I'll second.
second by Tashina. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Next, we'll move on to the purchase of a used 2025 Thomas,
I think it's 26.
Thomas school bus from Nelson Bus Service, which we talked about at the last meeting too.
Ready for motions?
Yep.
Okay, sure, I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Matt Bryce,
I'll second.
second by Don Wright. Any further discussion? I'd love to do a roll call on that. Roll call vote.
Matt Bryce,
Yes.
Tashina Rager,
Yes.
Don Milky,
Yes.
Jessica Milky,
Yes.
Brent McCurdy.
Yes. Motion approved. Next, we will vote on the open enrollment in and out applications for 2026-2027, which we saw earlier in the meeting.
Ready for a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the in and out applications for the 2026-27 school year.
Yep, we have a motion by Don,
As presented, because there is a
As
couple of
presented.
denials due to the special ed caps.
As presented.
Thank you.
there you go. Amended.
I'll second.
Second by Tashina. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next we'll vote on the elementary school parking lots. So I'll take a motion to approve that. Yeah, Monarch.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Matt and a second by Jessica. Any further discussion? Well, the roll call vote that too.
Matt Bryce,
Yes.
Tashina Rager,
Yes.
Don Milky,
Yes.
Jessica Milky,
Yes.
Brett McCurdy.
Yes. All right, any announcements? No? Upcoming events, we got the last day of school, which is Friday, and the June 1st will be the CISA 11th annual convention, which I'll plan on attending, and we'll have a meeting on June 10th, and if needed, another one on the 24th. Matt, would you review the rules for us?
Yep. We focused on the mission, vision statements of the district, came prepared, were respectful of others, and open accepting of ideas, actively participated, avoided side conversations, and remembered board meetings are open forum.
Thank you, Matt. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn to executive closed session pursuant to section 19.851C of Wisconsin statutes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive closed session.
Motion by Don,
I'll second.
second by Tashina. Do roll call vote.
Matt Bryce,
Yep.
Tashina Rager,
Yes.
Don Milky,
Yes.
Jessica Milky,
Yes.
Brett McCurdy.
Yes, we are in closed session. Thank you, admin team.